And today's first excerpt is from a book called The Cost of Living by a woman from India called Arundhati Roy. She's quite famous. I was going to poke fun and read this in my Indian accent, which I'm pretty good at. I'm pretty good at speaking English with an Indian accent and American accent too. But I decided against it for now. But today's selection has an Indian flavor to it, partly because I had a very nice chana masala the day before yesterday with naan bread and mint chutney and raita, and I can't get over it. Anyway, page 15, The Greater Common Good. Okay, it's from that chapter. Big dams haven't really lived up to their role as the monuments of modern civilization, emblems of man's ascendancy over nature. Monuments are supposed to be timeless, but dams have an all too finite lifetime. They last only as long as it takes nature to fill them with silt. It's common knowledge now that big dams do the opposite of what their publicity people say they do. The local pain for national gain myth has been blown wide open. For all these reasons, the dam building industry in the first world is in trouble and out of work. So it's exported to the third world in the name of development aid, along with their other waste like old weapons, superannuated aircraft carriers, and banned pesticides. On the other hand, every Indian government rails self-righteously against the first world, and on the other actually pays to receive their gift-wrapped garbage. Aid is just another Praetorian business enterprise, like colonialism was. It has destroyed most of Africa. Bangladesh is reeling from its ministrations. We know all this in numbing detail. Yet, in India, our leaders welcome it with slavish smiles. And the next excerpt is from a book called The Mystic Monsieur by a very famous Indian author called V.S. Naipaul. Right then. It's from page 93, from the chapter called The First Book. Bihari and Suraj Muma called that evening. As soon as Layla and Suraj Muma saw each other, they began crying. "He write the book," Suraj Muma wailed. I know, Leela agreed with a sharper wail, and Suraj Muma embraced her. "Don't mind you educated, you must never leave him. I would never leave Suraj Pupa, although I read up to third standard. No. When that was over, they went to Bihari's shop and ate. Later, while the women washed up, Bihari and Ganesh discussed how the book could best be distributed. "Give me some," Bihari said. "I go put them in the shop. But Fuente Grove is a damn small place, man. Nobody does ever come here. If it ain't do good, it ain't go do harm. We have to paint some signs and send them to Rio Claro and Princestown and San Fernando and Port of Spain. Handbills? Nah, is a book we talking about, not a theater show." Bihari smiled weakly. "Was just an idea, really Suraj Muma idea, but we must have advertisement in the Sentinel with a coupon to fill up and cut out and send. Like the American magazines. It's a good idea that, eh? Is something that was worrying Suraj Muma. You asked the printer to keep the print? Yes, man. I know about the business, you know. Suraj Muma was getting real worried. They grew so enthusiastic that Ganesh wondered whether he shouldn't have printed 2,000 copies of the book. Bihari said he visualized Trinidad storming Fuente Grove to get copies, and Ganesh agreed that the idea wasn't far-fetched. They were so excited, they fixed the price of the book at 48 cents and not 36, as they had planned in the beginning. Clear $300 profit, Bihari said. And don't use that word. The third installment of this Indian-themed selection is an excerpt from M.K. Gandhi's An Autobiography, or the story of my experiments with truth. And I shall read from page 71. There was a great exhibition at Paris in 1890. I had read about its elaborate preparations, and I also had a keen desire to see Paris. So I thought I had better combine two things in one and go there at this juncture. A particular attraction of the exhibition was the Eiffel Tower, constructed entirely out of iron and nearly 1,000 feet high. There were, of course, many other things of interest, but the tower was the chief one, inasmuch as it had been supposed till then that a structure of that height could not safely stand. I had heard of a vegetarian restaurant in Paris. I engaged a room there and stayed 7 days. I managed everything very economically, both the journey to Paris and the sightseeing there. This I did mostly on foot, and with the help of a map of Paris, as also a map of and guide to the exhibition. These were enough to direct one to the main streets and chief places of interest. I remember nothing of the exhibition excepting its magnitude and variety. I have fair recollection of the Eiffel Tower as I ascended it twice or thrice. There was a restaurant on the first platform, and just for the satisfaction of being able to say I had had my lunch at a great height, I threw away 7 shillings on it. The ancient churches of Paris are still in my memory. Their grandeur and their peacefulness are unforgettable. The wonderful construction of Notre Dame and the elaborate decoration of the interior with its beautiful sculptures cannot be forgotten. I felt then that those who expended millions on such divine cathedrals could not but have the love of God in their hearts. I had read a lot about the fashions and frivolity of Paris. These were in evidence in every street, but the churches stood noticeably apart from these scenes. A man would forget the outside noise and bustle as soon as he entered one of these churches. His manner would change.